We're back in a Gunners Club.
Welcome back to the Gunners Club. You're here with Gunner and, of course, with Seuss. And tell me, when you shake a farmer's hand, what do you think? They usually got a pretty firm grip, don't they? Like the sort of grip of someone you can trust.
Not the same grip as a tradie.
Well, let's compare that to...
A tradie with a scotch in his hand and enjoying it as he should.
Let's compare that, say, maybe to the handshake of a lawyer.
Does he have a man bun?
Oh, so you've already got preconceived notions
I do.
of the difference between a tradie and someone, let's say, who's degree qualified, and that's exactly what we're talking about today. And what better way to do that, the dichotomy that you have before me. So we've got Seuss here, who is trade qualified, actually in pastry. Is it puff pastry?
Well, it depends how you pronounce it. It could be puff, I'm not sure. But there you go.
And someone like myself who's bent my back
over
my desk for academic purposes for many years. You know, growing up and really, leashing myself to the desk and studying academia, and then seeing younger people, even than I, running out with new cars, already having relationships where they could financially afford to bankroll themselves to start to buy houses and things like that, holding hands and making plans, that sort of thing. I think that academia, it really leads to a stunted life. You marry later, you have a relationship later. It's a lot longer until you've got money in the bank to be able to buy a place to live. And the idea of a new car, that doesn't come up until your 30s. Whereas I've seen a lot of tradies who become independent a lot earlier. And let me tell you why I think that. You want to do a degree, it means you need to do school to at least finish school to year 12.
At least.
Right? Generally. On top of that, a bachelor's degree is 3 years.
So long as it's not something, in I don't know, lesbian dance theory, perhaps?
Yeah, that might be a specialty. That might be 4 years. But certainly, let's say that you have to do the full length of school, then you do another 3 years. So already, that's 5 years further of study.
Yep.
Now, you can do a trade certificate in as little as 2 years. I think a lot of them can be up to 3 years.
Yeah, usually 3 or 4, I would have thought.
Okay, so let's take myself for an example. So went through, did the degree, did a professional qualification as well through an accounting body, which was an extra 3 years on top of that. So regular exams, nowadays you have to do the mentor program as well and have professional experience for 3 years.
And don't you have to keep up with that on a yearly basis and continually doing studies?
I'm still currently paying. It's quite expensive too. They don't release these programs for free, let me tell you. So I have to keep that up. That's 120 hours that I do every 3 years just to keep up that qualification.
Yep.
Now, on top of that, for me, I've got 2 further postgraduates as well as that. So let's say that at school I've got an extra 9.5 years at school than what's required to be a tradie. A tradie will do 2 to 3 years of trade. I'm not taking that away on top of the schooling to get to where they're at. So what I'm saying, not as a thing to stick my chest out, as a thing to say that it's a financial burden to get all of those qualifications. It's an ongoing financial burden as well. And what it does, it really holds you back for several years of development when you want to be able to go to the disco and wear those good clothes and have a nice car to invite your partner to get into and then talk to her about, what the plans might be for the future. It's really delayed.
Well, you look at this in two ways. As a tradie, you start off as an apprentice.
But you are earning right from the get-go.
Well, yeah, you're not earning full whack, but you are earning. Mm-hmm. And as you progress up in years in your apprenticeship, your earnings increase.
Sure.
And that's fine until you become a tradie. Mm-hmm. And then, example as an electrician, if you want to become an A grade, in order to be able to hand out a certificate saying that this job has been done by an A grade electrician, then you have to sit another course. And that's fine. And at that stage, you can also open your own business.
Yeah.
But along this entire track, you have not acquired a HECS debt because you've been paid the whole way through.
Yeah, that was something that was nasty and that was waiting for me when I started earning money. And it's really just another burden that a young person really doesn't need.
And that could be in the tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, quite easily. So a bachelor's degree in Australia, a 3-year degree, typically costs in the mid-20s to the mid 40,000s, depending on what the degrees that you do.
Yeah, because they've changed that recently too, haven't they? Like, for example, in the, shall we say, the arts type degrees, they've now made that, am I right in saying this? They've made that a lot more expensive than compared to...
I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if they've
than
done
compared to STEM degrees.
See, the one thing we've got to remember is that an arts degree, if we say it's a humanities arts degree, is a very important degree because it's a degree in being able to reason and being able to think. Now, there is a reason why an arts degree goes after your name in the postnomials before a science degree, before any other degree, apart from theology or divinity. The most important, you shouldn't be laughing because this is how the universities actually grade the degrees in terms of importance. The study of God, the study of man, and then the study of science and the study of other things. Although that sort of goes against Plato, where the first university was opened up and above the archways it said, do not even consider entering until you have first studied mathematics.
Which makes me start to wonder about the validity of universities.
You know, that's a really good point because for me, I see a young tradesman come to the property, right? Could be a plumber. And I see him writing the ticket for the job, getting the job done, and then presumably he's got to go back and arrange the accounting for it. He had to organise the pricing for it. He's had to organise the advertising for it. That is a lot of skills on top of the trade that person's done. So managing money, managing a business, managing taxation, managing employees from a young age and managing resources as well. Whereas for me, I remember the third year of my undergraduate and I thought, international economics, yeah, that's for me. International economics, I want to be a tycoon. All that I studied was bloody intersection of demand and supply curves and things like that. You know, comparative advantage of production, things like that. Theoretical stuff which really has not stood me in good stead for earning income.
But is any of that relevant to changing a washer in a leaking tap at home?
No, I see your reason there. No.
Yeah. There is a place for all of this. Lawyers, all of these academics, they're great. They would not know how to change a spark plug in their car.
That's right.
They would not
Well,
know...
with electric cars, let's face it, why would they need to?
Well, I suppose they can get their hairdresser out to fix their man bun and you know, their skinny jeans and maybe get that sorted. But for real life, you really do need it. There is a perfect meme. There is a perfect meme. And I'm trying to remember it now, and I'm losing it. Something about the tradies getting the chicks. And I can't remember it. This will be edited, so stay tuned.
All right, so the tradies get the chicks. I think on top of the tradies getting the chicks, because I've got the money, the tradies have got tax deductions.
Oh, yeah.
They can buy their trucks and get trade deductions on it. Tradies work generally in unionised workplaces. What that means is they can negotiate through more experienced people.
Yes.
Better deals in terms of what their leave is, what their safety requirements are, the standards for the industry. Now, the industry that I work in, it's not unionised. We don't have a high union presence, and so any negotiation is done on an individual level. For people who have just qualified with a large HECS debt and no experience, that means they're taking what's been paid. Now the average...
And having their HECS debt deducted from what they're getting paid.
Right. Now the average experienced tradie in Australia earns over $112,000. That's a lot more than the average degree qualified person in Australia.
Yes.
It's interesting, you know, I look at a young family member who is not necessarily going to go down the academic path, and I actually see a lot of advantage in the lifestyle that he's got in front of him because he's been taught the trade by a family member. He's got an understanding of where the career path for that would be. Now, I remember for me it was as simple as, okay, I'm at school, accounting actually took my fancy, it made sense to me. I thought I can look under the bonnet of numbers and make sense out of it.
Well, you have
Similarly
an
for me-
affinity to numbers. So
Yeah,
same
similar
as
for
our,
me as a
same as our
statistician
father
as well.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm also postgrad in statistics. I have an understanding of looking under the hood of numbers and what that actually means in terms of business. That's for me, but other people can look under the hood of a car and they can actually just as easily understand the dynamics of the way that something else works.
Yes.
And I think if their mind works that way, that's actually a really good road to go down. But I maintain the happiest people of all, and unfortunately I'm not made that way,
Okay.
are people who simply love other people. I think they have the happiest and the luckiest life. They probably don't get paid the most, and they're probably not great at reasoning for the best payment for themselves. But my God, they lead the best lives.
Hang on. Love for people. Where does it leave me for the love of Scotch?
Well, you're sort of ambivalent on that, and you're ambivalent about people as well. Sometimes actually quite bellicose.
Yeah. Well, I actually have a T-shirt. It says I love whiskey and cigars and maybe 3 people.
And one of them's a dog.
That's it.
Generally how it goes. So, one good thing I can say for office work is that if you can hold on to your job, you usually come out with your body in slightly better condition than a person who's been a tradie all their life. You know,
There is that.
for example, a painter who's arching their back for every job that they do. There's only so many hours that you can do that for, only so many years. And you know, with family history and under communist yoke, recognition was given to labourers for that. They weren't expected to live and to work for 60 years of their life.
No, that's correct.
The
Yes.
retirement age was much shorter than that. And still in some of the poorer European countries, they've got really reduced retirement ages for people who work on the rails, for example.
Can you imagine a concreter, an Italian concreter? Do you remember back in the day, in the 60s, I still remember back in the day in the 60s, we have these Italian or, well, I was going to
Turkish
say...
nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, with a handkerchief, with the knots tied in the 4 corners of this
Yes,
handkerchief,
yes.
but to keep the sun off their head, and kneeling on all fours, screeding this concrete. Now, over a number of years, I have had many jobs. One of them was at a concrete company, Boral, big concrete company, and I was driving one of their concrete trucks, and I remember driving onto these house sites where they're building a brand new house and laying the foundation and putting the slab down, and you're seeing this 60-year-old Italian concreter swearing at me because the concrete's got too much water in it or whatever. Secretly, he wants me to put more water in it because it's easier to screed. He can hardly stand from the years
Yeah.
that he's been toiling at this job. I mean, he's probably quite well off, as in monetary wise, and he, generally speaking, has a massive house that he's usually built himself on the weekends.
Yeah, and somehow obtain the materials for...
Well,
As
we,
well.
we don't speak of that.
Yeah.
But his life is fucked. He really is. His body is rat shit. He's gone. So quality of life at that stage of your life compared to an office worker.
Yeah, so I notice at my age, okay, I'm wearing glasses, and in part I think it's because of the job that I do. That's what I do. I stare at numbers,
Yep.
basically, all day long. Look, it's common, particularly for men of my age in office work, to carry a podge as well. Something I'm always fighting off. I think one of the reasons I'm so keen in going to the gym.
Yeah, that's true.
But there's that as well. As well as that, if you're out of work and you have a trade, I think it's a lot easier to get back into work.
Oh, well, most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Whereas for somebody who's experienced in working in some sort of office work, it's a matter of finding the right job at the right time with the right company or knowing the right person. And if you're not at the right level of the tree, the chances are you don't know the right person who will hook you up
Yeah.
with that job.
In a trade, even, and there's a downturn in the economy and you're looking for a job, it doesn't even have to be in that trade. The very fact that you're a tradie, in other words, you're a hands-on person, generally speaking, they recognise that as well, you can put your hand to pretty much anything.
Oh, I agree. I saw today when I was out for lunch, I saw a truck and it was advertising an employment company for labour.
Yep.
And really it was so diverse. If you were a labourer and you had some sort of experience on a site, there was a job for you. I mean, you could turn your hand, like you said, if you're a plasterer or concreter, why not to waste management?
Yes.
Because you're actually used to working in the field on construction sites. You've got your safety tickets, etc.
Yep, that's right.
You know how to work, and you're probably unionised as well.
Yep.
You're in there with a chance. Whereas if you're, let's say, an accountant, but you've worked in the manufacture of confectionery, and there's a job that comes up, and it's in betting, for example, the chances are they won't even look at you sideways for something like that. It's just something that makes me think, reaching this age of my life, that how could have my life been so different? 2 paths descended into the woods and I took the lesser one travelled. But what if I'd taken the other one? What if I'd been a tradie? Well, I don't think I would have done a great job, to be quite honest, but...
No, you see, but then you weren't exposed to that. You haven't done that, so you don't know. You could...
Isn't that true?
could, for all you know, be...
Ooh,
an
you're
amazing.
researching.
Oh yeah, no. You could, for all you know, be an amazing electrician.
So, what do? Do we wait to this next life for something like that? And what about you? What if you put on glasses and a suit? What would you have done in the office?
I don't think I would have lasted very long. PR would have had me out the door real quick.
A lot of our videos are based on serious topics, but sometimes we have a bit of a drink and a bit of a laugh. Why don't you join us for more adventures? We've got a really extensive back catalogue. Some of them are quite serious and industry related, where we go through a lot of facts and theory. Some of them are just a bit of a laugh like this.
And why stop at just one drink? Catch you on the next one, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
We'll see you soon.
Good on you guys.